Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Jason Tucker, and this is WPshowandTell, a show by WPwatercooler, where we talk about really great products that are out there in the WordPress space, and we get someone who knows all about the product, either the developer or the company owner or whatever, to talk about that particular product. And we are here with an awesome dude, John Hawkins. John, how's it going, dude?
What's up, Jason? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. It's going pretty well. So I've used custom post type UI, like the actual, the normal plugin, for some time now. From what I understand and from what I remember, this thing's like 6 years old, right?
Yeah, CPT UI has been around for quite a while. It's if you look it up in the repo, there's like something like 1.7 million downloads of it, 300,000 active installs. It's pretty big. It's being used in a lot of places. It's pretty awesome.
That's awesome, dude. I mean, I love seeing stuff like this, but what kind of makes me think is, like, why the heck did it take you guys so long to come up with something that does what this thing does? Like, really, like, how did that happen? And
yeah,
were you looking through the back catalog and going, what can we build? And it's like, aha.
I mean, that's kind of how I actually ended up at WebDevStudios. Was I had lost my job at a startup, and at the beginning of the year, I looked around. I was trying to find something fun to do, and I didn't want to just go get a job. So I knew all the folks at WebDevStudios, and so we started talking. And they've got a lot of different plugins and a lot of code that they've written throughout the years, and it really made sense to kind of have somebody come in and shepherd all of that stuff and turn some of this code into products, because there's definitely some stuff in there that that should be kind of brought to light.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So the plugin we're talking about today is custom post type UI Extended, right? And you're going to go a little bit into just custom post type UI as well, right? Just to kind of show how these two work together, right?
Yeah, I'll give you kind of a quick little how do you do on CPT UI itself, and then for people who might not be up to date on what that thing does as by itself. So tell you what, let me just kind of go ahead and share my screen here.
Awesome. So you guys are Pluginize itself is kind of a branch of WebDevStudios, right?
Correct. Yeah, Pluginize is, so we didn't want to muddy the waters, So when people were coming to WebDevStudios, we didn't want them to start thinking, oh, are they a development company or are they a plugin company? So we kind of thought it best to kind of keep the two separate and not confuse the audience, and so we treat them as a part of each other, but separate. So.
Nice.
So for those who aren't aware, custom post types, when you install WordPress, just by default, you have several different post types: posts, media, pages, comments. These are all standard post types that are built right into WordPress. And if you're doing, when you're building sites, as they start to get more elaborate and kind of need to do different things, a little more custom, you may want to have other post types. So if you think of maybe the idea of having like a company Rolodex, right? You might want to have a custom post type called employees, where you wouldn't want to put employees as posts, which is chronological data, and you wouldn't really want to handle those as pages, because those are a little more static, more for things like your about page, your contact us. So if you were to set up your own post type called employees, let's say, you could then attach all of your data for each of those employees, and then using WordPress templating, you could then show that information in different and unique ways outside of how a regular post or page works. So that's kind of the impetus of what a post type is and what a custom post type is. So the trick is, if you're trying to build a custom post type, if you're not a developer and not ready to go get your hands dirty setting up a post type, then you might want to take a look at a plugin like Custom Post Types UI, where what we've done is all of the hard work behind the scenes that you would have to put into code, we made an interface for it. So you simply come into here. Let's say you wanted to add a new, well, we said employees, so let's just create one. Here's the employees.
People are always so scared of building custom post types. Like they hear this thing custom and they think,
Right.
oh no, I don't know how to do this. And you know, once they build it, they realize, wow, I can actually collect more information about a particular thing, especially
Right.
when you get into custom fields and that sort of stuff, or even taxonomies, which you'll probably get into here. How awesome that is, and being able to have, you know, collect a really good subset of data and be able to display it somewhere on their
Absolutely.
site.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you know, the way that we've got CPTUI set up is, you know, these are the only 3 fields that are needed. We then have, we kind of wanted to make it so that it was, look, these are the only 3 things that you need. If you wanted to, you could go right here, hit add post type, and you're done. Your post type is created. All of the other extensive amount of stuff that you can do with custom post types to customize them is all still available. We just made it into, you know, we've broken it out into here's the labels, and then down here where the settings are, you have the ability to kind of turn everything on and turn everything off, et cetera, et cetera. All of the supporters, we pre-highlight the 3 that most people are going to want: the title, the editor, and the featured image. So the nice part about this is when this is created like this, your base template right out of the box, WordPress, whatever template you're using, as long as these are the 3 pieces of data that you're using, it's going to display them just like it would a regular page or post. So if your page and post shows the featured image, boom, your featured image is going to show. So very simple to do. And I'm going to click add posts. And one of the tricks that you need to do is you need to go down to permalinks after you create a new custom post type, is you need to go to permalinks and hit save, which seems a little crazy, I understand, but it's one of those weird WordPress things. But so after I've done this, you'll see I've got my employees right up here. So here's my pages, my posts, blah, da, 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 and here's my employees. So I could easily just come in here and add new. And I could go and add a featured image, and bang, I've created that piece of data, and now that you know, that's going to show up here on the front end. Or you know, it's basically just taking my example, or I mean, it's taking my existing template and just applying that data to that template. So very simple.
The URL scheme is also added in there as well, so that way you're actually seeing employees / John Hawkins.
Correct. Exactly. Yep. So there you go. That's kind of a 2-minute primer on what a custom post type is and how CPT UI allows you to kind of create those without being a developer. So
very cool.
That was kind of, so we've been running with that, and that plugin right there, what I've shown you, 300,000 installs. I mean, it's everywhere, right? It's one of the top 100 plugins on the repo. So the trick that we had now is a lot of people want to kind of display their data in different ways, and that is kind of a little bit further along than what CPT UI itself does. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to give people kind of new and unique ways that they could manage the custom post types that they create themselves. And not only that, any other post types that are created on your website. So let's say you've got something like Easy Digital Downloads or WooCommerce. So those tools right there, they create their own post types. You know, here's one for your products, and then downloads, which would be EDD and WooCommerce, right? So let's just say, for example, I was creating a post called My Top 5 90s Movies. And what I've already done is I've already created a custom post type over here where in it, I've got a stack of data, right? So here's the title. I've got, we'll just go into one of these real quick. So very simple. Here's the title, short explanation, and the featured image. So nothing fancy from a development behind the scenes. I'm literally using CPT UI straight out of the box. I haven't gone under the hood and done anything with any code. So now let's say I'm writing a blog post and I wanted to talk about my top 5 90s movies. We've the way that we've done it with CPT UI Extended is we've now given you a button right here in TinyMCE where when you click on it, it brings up a modal where you first choose which post type you want to mess with. So you'll see all of the standard ones, right? Posts and pages. You see those here. And then you also see the ones that I've created, the cars and movies and employees that we just created a minute ago. And then you can also see the downloads and products. These are Woo and EDD specific. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my movies, and then based on that, now what we do is we have a set of different shortcodes that are, each one of these is basically a template. So when I drop down this list, I've got a default one, which this exists for every type of post type, is the default list, which I'll show you in a second. List would be more like a bulleted list. And then we have got a taxonomy list, and we just recently added a post slider. We use Slick Slider behind the scenes, so it's real lightweight and very customizable for developers who do want to kind of get their hands dirty and do a little bit extra with it. We've also made it so that in here, these templates that we've created behind the scenes, if you are a developer, you could go in here and you could create your own custom post type with custom taxonomies, maybe with some additional metadata. And what this would do is you could create a completely separate individual template that would show up in this list because you can tie it to individual post types. So I could have a very specific template for movies. So if you think about doing this for a client, right, you can make it so that they could use this over and over and over and over and over again in future blog posts and create a separate template for doing just that. So I'm going to just for the moment, I'm going to just use the default one. And what you're going to notice is it now brings up the second half of the form. And this is basically, it's going to be unique based on what you choose. Right. So the data list is going to be a little bit different each time. So, and by the way, this behind the scenes uses CMB2, if you're familiar with that plugin. Mm-hmm. So I don't need to put a title in here because I've kind of got my blurb and my post title already explains what I'm doing here. So I do want to include the featured image, so I choose that. And then I can choose which posts I want. If I didn't do this, it would actually just pull in. I can limit the number that I want. Or what I can do is I can come into here and I can choose, all right, I want to choose all 5 of these because I did say I wanted to, my post does say it's going to be the 5. So I select those, it puts the IDs in there, and I can choose the order and ascending, etc., etc. And I click insert shortcode, and just that easy, it's added it. So let me go ahead and update this. And we'll hop out here to my blog post, and you can see again it's just using the standard template, and now in here it's bringing in my featured image and the information about this, and then this would actually link off straight to that particular to that post. Nice. Which is, yeah. So very simple, very straightforward. And again, so the way that this all looks is going to be based on your existing template. But then it's very easy to override any of the styling with CSS. So very simple to do.
I like the fact that you've taken something that you didn't want the customer to use, the client to use, and have turned it into something using a different plugin and add on to this to allow them to actually interact with it. It's like, absolutely, you can play with this part of it.
Exactly.
Before, I was like, don't you dare open this thing up. You can't see it.
No, you know, that, I mean, that's really kind of how this entire thing was born. Is we knew that you know, you build these things for clients, and then you kind of end up telling them that you're going to slap their hand if they touch it. Well, now with this, you actually have the ability to create kind of customized templates that make it so simple for them to use this in a way that's completely flexible for them. Let me show you one other thing, because I'm actually, this is something that I find this is really fun. I'll just go ahead and use the same post for a second. But let's just say that I'm writing a blog post and I wanted to throw in a bunch of information about a specific product that I'm selling on here, right? So maybe I'm doing a review of a product, and I'm going to just add some extra text in here just so we can So I'll just kind of copy this a couple times. So now let's say right in the middle between these two paragraphs, you know, I'm talking about a product. And now what I wanted to do is I want to bring in a WooCommerce product. So I can just go to products. And now you'll see I've got one called Woo Product. So I'm going to choose Woo Product, featured image, of course. And I'm going to choose the Woo single number 2. Absolutely, it's my favorite product. And I'm going to insert that into there. Now, when I update this and then show it on the front end, one of my favorite pieces of this is instead of this forcing them to go to that product, we've brought the add to cart right here. So I click that. It's added to the cart, and they can go and go check out immediately. So
genius,
right?
I tell you.
So now you've kind of made it so that somebody has the ability to kind of bring in those products individually right in the middle of blog posts or in the middle of pages. So you know, you could do this. I chose to have one item here, but I could have easily chosen 3, and it would have kind of laid them out in that same grid format. So very simple to use. I do want to show you one other little piece around this that is something else that we added to custom post type UI, and then if you have any questions, I can kind of go back and we can talk about it. But one of the other things was, I'm a big fan of WordPress multi-site. I use it on a pretty regular basis, and I have with clients for a long time. And one of the tricks with CPTUI itself is that it's set up on an individual basis. Well, let's just say I'm running a network with multiple sites, and all of the sites are very, very similar. So what we've done is we've now made it so that CPT UI Extended has right here on the network admin, I can come into here, and I can now create a movies post type here. And when I do this, now if I go to, let's say, go to the dashboard for site 2, interestingly enough, you have to do a quick little refresh, but there it pops up. And so now this is available to the entire network, but the end user, if they were on this particular site, they actually can't come into CPTUI and mess with it. You'll notice they don't have an edit. They can still go in and add their own post types for their own subsite, but they can't affect those ones that were created at the network level. So
very cool.
All of that same set of functionality, being able to kind of drop that stuff onto into the middle of pages and posts, all that still exists. But now you also have at the network level the ability to kind of force the same across the entire network. And this is really important if you think of going back to that employee post type that we talked about. Let's say that I was a national chain and I've got subsites for every single one. I may create a template that every website uses across the entire network. And what I want is I want them to be able to go in and very easily go and add those employees so that it shows up on those templates. And now with this, it's very simple to kind of add that across the entire network.
Very cool. One of the questions I had for you regarding this kind of a duo of plugins is what about if you didn't know what you're going to be selecting? You just wanted to kind of have it so that if I added a new employee to my custom post type, that those new employees would also get added in there, because it looks like it's very specific to just very particular ones that I wanted to select. What if I don't want to select those, but I just want all of them to show up?
Right. So I mean, there is a setting for quantity. So you can set the quantity if you wanted to set it to something like 99, and it would show all of them. I believe actually we did limit it, and this was a by design thing. As there are times when you could easily put 10,000 items into a post type, right? You could have 10,000 items. Let's say you were talking about different SKUs. I mean, think of Amazon and how many different SKUs they've got, right? So We did put a limit on how many would display, just because we didn't want to accidentally blow up somebody's website. So it actually has built-in pagination, so it would paginate inside. If you were to list out 100, it would actually paginate those in the middle of your post. So you wouldn't even have to go page to page to page on multiple. Cool. So if you think about it, you could still have a multi-page blog post that then also has multiple pages of products inside of it, or employees, what have you. So
very cool. I love it. I love it a lot. I love being able to select the things I want to have displayed. I didn't even think of the idea of being able to essentially pull these into in the middle of a post and be able to display those. Yeah. I can also see this as something interesting for if you're an affiliate marketer and you wanted to use this for your various affiliate links. And you already had all that stuff in there, you could just tie right into it. You know, Pretty Links or any of these other ones that use a custom post type. I mean, how awesome is that, right? Absolutely, and that's kind of the idea. Is you know, when I kind of came into this project, my whole goal was, how do we make this kind of available for the masses, where CPT UI is, you know, definitely a developer focused, for the most part, developer focused plugin. And, you know, there's just so many more people that that use WordPress that never want to see a line of code. So yeah, absolutely, something like a Pretty Links Pro. I haven't tried it with that, but now I'm going to have to. Yeah, I mean, it's very simple to do. Very neat. I love it. Thank you for showing us. I really appreciate it. So where do people find it? How do they get it? What's the requirements for it? What are we looking at here? Take a quick look over at pluginize.com is probably the easiest way. It's listed on the homepage. Otherwise, you can go straight to the shop page, and you'll see a link for CPT UI Extended. If you download CPT UI Extended, if you purchase a copy and download it, and you don't already have CPT UI installed, it will tell you, hey, you need this other plugin, and it's a quick little click to add. And it'll download it for you. And then, you know, with it, you get 6 months of updates and support. And yeah, it's very simple, very straightforward. Very cool. Well, John, thank you very much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. Thank you for taking the time to do a quick demo and explain how to use it. I think a lot of our newbie people, as well as our advanced folks, are going to love being able to make this really easier for their users to be able to interact with their content. My pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thanks so much. Thanks a lot, Don. Bye-bye.